Seeing inside, the reaction of the mind. Seeing outside, sending your attention towards an object in the external world is called awareness. And what is the reaction inside of that stimulus from the external world? This is self-awareness. Watching your reaction of the mind inside is called self-awareness. So we should be constantly engaged in twofold activity. Awareness towards the world, and that object gives you some kind of reaction in your mind. You should be aware of this mind's reaction also. And this self-awareness should not stop with your mind. It should go beyond the mind. It should touch the soul, individual soul, and then it should deeply penetrate into the Atman also. How do you know that you have penetrated deep into your soul and Atman? If you have touched your individual soul, yesterday I told you, what is the indication? Tears in your eyes. Tears in your eyes is an indication that you have touched your soul. And what is the indication that you have touched the universal soul or Atman? You will feel totally satisfied, totally gratified. You will not want any other thing. There is plenty of land here in Tiruvannamalai. If I could be a real estate agent, I could make millions. No, this thought will not arise. I want to see all the beautiful girls in the world, beautiful men in the world. No, this thought will not arise. Even if you are left with a loin cloth, even if you are suffering from carbuncle, a deadly disease, a very painful disease, you forget about all those things. You are totally satisfied. Yes, I am totally satisfied. I don't want anything else in the world. Oh God, thank you for giving me this loin cloth. That was what Ramana Maharshi was doing. Can you be satisfied with a loin cloth? It is total satisfaction. That is an indication that your consciousness has touched the center of your Atman. So, self-awareness must go deep and it should touch your individual soul as well as your universal soul called Atman. And Thiruvalluvar, the Tamil sage Thiruvalluvar says, there are 4 degrees of sleep. Thiruvalluvar says, he gives it in a beautiful analogy. There is a port, seaport. There are 4 ships standing there. 4 ships. What are the names? Those 4 ships are labeled as procrastination, forgetfulness, laziness, and sleep. All the 4 ships are bound for only one destination, the land of death. They take you to only one land. What is that land? Land of death. And people are flocking towards those 4 ships. Of their own volition, people are willing to rush into those ships and they are boarding the ships and they are willing to go to the land of death. What are those 4 ships? The ship of procrastination, the ship of forgetfulness, the ship of laziness, the ship of sleep. These are the 4 degrees of sleep. The first 3 are lesser degrees and the 4th one is the absolute sleep. Procrastination is a form of sleep. Procrastination is a form of sleep. What is meant by procrastination? Will-less condition. You don't have any willpower to act. You know you have to do certain things now and you postpone it. Okay, I'll do it in the evening. Okay, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it next week. I'll do it next month. I'm not going to lose much. Okay, there will be some problems. I can solve them. There is no willpower. Loss of willpower is called sleep. So, what is the first symptom of sleep? Procrastination. Then how to conquer sleep? Do the thing what you should be doing at that exact time. If you have to do something in the morning, do it in the morning. If you have to do something in the afternoon, do it in the afternoon. Never postpone anything beyond its time. If you postpone something, what happens? You lose your willpower. Every time you lose your willpower, what happens? your power lessens, you are losing control over your mind, and the tempter, Mara, the Satan, will enter into that place and he will occupy that place. Later it will be very hard for you to drive him away. Never give in to temptation, to Mara, to Satan. No. So you have to develop your willpower. What is willpower? It is one aspect of enlightenment. Without the proper development of willpower, you will succumb to Mara or the tempter or Satan. Darkness. What is Satan? Darkness. What is death? Darkness. What is enlightenment? God. Brilliant light. So procrastination is the first sign of sleep. What is the next thing? Forgetfulness. People tend to forget all sorts of things. That is because they are not concentrating at the first impression. The first impression is the best impression, they say. If you are fully, totally impressed with the first thing, you will never be able to forget anything. So pay attention to all that you are doing now. Whenever you are attending to something, be there totally. Body, soul and being and Atman. With your total being, you attend to everything. This is called Zen training. So whatever you do, if you are drinking this water, do it totally with your whole being. Your body should be involved. Your mind should be involved. Your soul should be involved. Your Atman should be involved. Your divinity should be involved. All these 5 centers should be involved in each and everything. Then it becomes an act of yoga. If anything is left out, it is not an act of yoga. It is called a partial perception and it will suck your energy. It will drain your energy. When you are able to put all these 5 centers into action, it becomes an act of yoga. It is called karma yoga. Then what happens? Total perception takes place and you are getting energy. Even if you are continuously working for days together, you will not get tired. This is called total perception by J. Krishnamurti and Vallalar. It is called direct perception of the Atman. Now we are having perception through the 5 senses and the mind. The mind is directing our senses. The energy does not come from the Atman. When the energy comes from God, the Atman receives it. And the Atman gives its energy to the mind. And the mind gives it to the senses. So the whole apparatus is occupied. So from where? From which source you are getting that energy? From God Himself. Then what happens? The energy available at your disposal is immense. Cosmic energy is available to you. So how to get your body, mind, soul, Atman and divinity, indwelling unity involved in whatever you do? That is the secret of Karma Yoga. When you are able to do that, you can get away from sleep. And the third thing is laziness. What is the name of the third ship? It is laziness. In Tamil it is called Madi. Madi means death. You see a man or woman being lazy, and Thiruvalluvar says that woman or man is already dead. A lazy man is already dead. Laziness is labeled as death itself. Madi means 2 things, laziness as well as death. So don't be lazy. Laziness is another form of sloth, is another form of sleep. And what is the last thing? The last ship, 4th ship is labeled as sleep itself. Tunjinar Settarim Vallalar. A sleeping man is already a dead man. So these are the 4 degrees of sleep. And what is the ultimate sleep? Death itself. So we should be very careful if we want to attain the enlightened state or salvation. Again, what is meant by Buddha? The very word Buddha means an enlightened one, an awakened one. We are also awakened. Last night we were asleep. This morning we got awakened. We are also awakened. Is it true? No. Permanent awakening. Once for all, permanent awakening. Once enlightenment takes place, thereafter, no going back. No cessation of consciousness. It will be constantly flowing. There is no scarcity of water of enlightenment. It is like a waterfall constantly falling through eternity. You will never lose your consciousness. No Lord of death, no Yama can take it away from you. Once for all, total awakening, permanent awakening. Then you could be called a Buddha. Who is a Buddha? An enlightened one, permanently enlightened one, like a Ramana, like a Vallalar. Permanently. Darkness is driven away from nook and corner of your consciousness. There is total light. There is no darkness at all. Not even a single iota of darkness in your consciousness. Then you could be labeled as the Buddha. And enlightenment of consciousness, a Buddha had and a Ramana Maharishi had. And enlightenment of body, this is where Vallalar comes in. He takes it one step further and he says this very body now contains consciousness as well as 7 dhatus. What are the 7 dhatus elements? The skin, the muscle, the bone, blood, nervous tissue, and then the semen, and what is inside the bone, it is called majja, the essence. So all these 7 dhatus this body is made up of, is composed of. Along with that, these cells of the body have got consciousness. Say consciousness now is about 1% and the solid matter, inert matter is 99%. Go on increasing the degree of consciousness from 1% to 10%, from 10% to 20%, from 20% to 50%, from 50% to 90%, from 90% to 100%. In this body, these 7 dhatus are replaced by total intelligence. And what is total intelligence? Love and compassion. So by constantly practicing love and compassion, this body could be transformed into a body of love and compassion. And there are 3 degrees according to Swami's science. This physical body could be transformed into 3 levels. Now this is in an impure condition. This is called impure body. And through the 9 orifices in the body, 9 openings in the body, waste material is constantly oozing out. By following the method of Swami Ramalinga of Sanmarga, you can stop this body from manufacturing this excretory matter. All the 9 orifices will not be oozing out excretory matter. No single iota of excretory matter will be produced in the body. Then what happens to this body? This body becomes a pure body. That body can last for thousands of years. Then it is called a pure body. Then this body is capable of producing its own food called nectar. And this pure body could be transformed into a letter body. That was what was meant by St. John. How does it open? St. John's Gospel. How does it open? In the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God and Word was God. In the person of Jesus Christ, the Word was clothed with flesh and it was the person of Jesus. Later, after crucifixion, what happened? The flesh was converted into once again into the Word of God, and it became the resurrected body and it ascended into skies. So the Word became flesh and the flesh became once again into Word. What is a word? You take a letter A, you write a letter A. Okay, it has got form A, it has got form A, it has got sound. But can you touch it? Can you touch it? There is no substance. This is the second form of body called Pranava body, Omkara body or space body. This is called the second body, Omkara body. See, pure body and then sound body. This is called letter body or word body. And from that second stage, you can enter into the body of total compassion or wisdom light. It is a light body, not the light of the physical sun or moon or Agni or fire. It is not a physical light. It is the light of wisdom. What is wisdom? Total compassion is wisdom. Wisdom is not different from love or compassion. So, wisdom is equated with love and compassion. What is the final body? The body of total compassion, which can last forever and ever. So, even this body could be enlightened. When you have enlightened your consciousness, then starts another process. It doesn't stop there. Even this body could be transformed into a light body. In Tibetan Buddhism, they say something about rainbow body, something similar. It is not the light body. They also talk about the rainbow body. If you read Srimad Bhagavatam, the story of Krishna, there you find the body of Krishna being described as aprakrita deha. Aprakrita deha. Deham means body. Prakrita means prakriti, earth nature. A means opposite. That body was not composed of any earthly matter, which means it was a divine body. Aprakrita deha. Aprakrita deha. Prakriti means earth nature, material nature. So, Krishna's body, the incarnation of God, Krishna's body, did not contain even a single iota of Prakriti. It was spiritual body, it was a divine body. Even with Rama, the incarnation, the same thing holds good. This is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavata Purana. Every one of us here can attain to that level, says Vallalar, and he shows you the way. By constantly enlightening our consciousness, by increasing the intelligence of the body from 1% to 100%, this same body could be transformed into a light body. How to do it? By constantly transforming this fleshly body into love and compassion. Because ultimately, what is the most transparent thing? What is the most refined thing? Compassion. It is the lightest of the light. It is the source of all light. Physical light, subtle light, and causal light. What is the causal heat? Compassion. What is the causal light? Compassion. From compassion sprang this world. From compassion, grace, God's grace, was created this world. It is even now being sustained by God's compassion. So Swami says, first of all, man's duty is to attain through compassion the state of Godhead. Then everything will automatically take place. God will enter into your body, and through you, He will be accomplishing all sorts of miracles. You don't perform any miracles. As long as even a single iota of your egoistic consciousness remains in your body, you cannot perform any miracle. Forget about it. So, what is your duty? First, attain love, and then compassion. Total compassion for all beings. Then all things will automatically take place. Total awakening, permanent awakening, Tattva Nigraha. Swami gives you one thing, it is called Tattva Nigraha. There are two ways. It's a long process. Some of you I find very tired, so we'll take it up in the evening. Okay, you see, it's full of philosophic import. Unless you understand this, though it's a bit complicated, you should understand it. Unless you understand it, you cannot go to the highest state of total awakening and permanent awakening. There are 43 states of consciousness. How many states? 43 states of consciousness. This has not been understood by any Freud or Jung or Adler or Ken Wilber. No Western psychologist has understood 43 states of consciousness. There are. And what are the indications? What is the science behind every state of consciousness? What is that experience? All these things are described by Saint Vallalar in his songs. So every state of consciousness is delineated with all its particulars. No Freud has done it. Nobody knows. Even Ken Wilber does not know. Now he is the foremost psychologist of the West. Ken Wilber. Even Ken Wilber doesn't know about this. Yesterday I told you about Ken Wilber. He has written a book called Eye of the Spirit. And beyond the eye of the Spirit, there is an eye of compassion. Is there. Swami tells you about it. It was revealed to him by the Lord Himself. So we are going to see about this thing, Tattva Nigraha. There are going to be 43 states of consciousness. We have to ascend one stage after another. Now we are at the third level. We have to ascend how many more? 40 more states of consciousness. It will take a long time. I don't want to stop it in the middle. So with this, I would like to close this satsang. Maria, come. You sing a song. Just open your heart and keep listening to the song. Maria will take you to the state of meditation.